and the other one was a surf instructor. So he actually taught me to surf in Hawaii. He got very physical and he tried to rape me. So yeah. Kind of get to the door and just open the door, screaming, and like my neighbors like open the door and they're like, are you okay?
Hi! This is my couch server. This is amazing! Traveling for 3 weeks only with this size! I traveled in Europe for 1.5 months. I have this size, the Ryanair bag. I think so far you are the only one who can compete me.
I'm Jenny. I was born in China, raised in Italy, and then I lived in the UK and Spain. And now I'm kind of based between Europe and traveling 50% of the time. I travel a lot for work, so I stay in many hotels. I like to use Couchsurfing, to meet people. I like to use like the Hangout app.
When you're looking for a host, what's the criteria?
I always start with like a rate aim on 30 to 100 or something. And then I look at profiles with references. I look at when they last logged in. I look at, the general profile. I try to figure out, okay, is this person quite lax? Are they very strict with certain rules?
No.
Because being a host myself, I think it's important to have a good understanding with your guests or with your hosts. Yeah, I look at the profile, maybe some hobbies or, some background information. They live together, if they share a flat, where they are, if there's any information like, oh, they are 2 hours away from, the city, or they are very central, or a sofa, or it's like a guest room. And then I look at people who have, like accepting guests or maybe accepting. Usually I post my public trip, and most of the times, like I get messages or an invite.
When we host people, we try to make the guest comfortable, at least a place livable. Why do you want to host people?
In 2011 or 12, so when I first joined Couchsurfing, I started as a host. I was living alone. I was 20 and I was living in China. So after growing up in Europe, I decided to go to study Chinese and know more about, my Asian roots. So I had the space and I had time, and I didn't have local friends or family. I thought Couchsurfing would be a good opportunity to, explore places together. Share food is always more fun to do kind of thing with someone. It was also, to make new friends and meet people, help others, help travelers.
I found out when I search at people's place, some of my hosts, they really just host a lot just because they feel bored.
Some of them just didn't have the possibility to travel. For others, I think it was just more comfortable because they were in their comfort zone. It was their place. They'd rather just have people come and stay. Surfing can help, shy people or people who don't have maybe a specific hobby. If someone is only hosting, maybe they don't have the opportunity to travel. So I understand they open the doors and people, bring their culture and their stories to host. But people who are always only surfing, so they only stay at other people's places, for me, it's like a big red flag. This person has like 150 stays at other people's places and they have never hosted. Yeah, to me that it just doesn't sound balanced. Like even if you have a small place or you don't have much time, at least you could try to give back.
Yeah, even though my apartment is only 24 square meters, I still try to help travelers.
Yeah.
Because I stayed at so many people's places, so I want to just give back. You grew up in Italy. So even though your mom is from China, when you visit Asian culture countries, do you have any cultural shock?
I don't get like a cultural shock. I just fall in love again with Asia. Internally, I'm more European than Asian. But there are a lot of things that resonate with me about, Asian philosophies, ways of living, the appreciation for food, all the excitement. I have been through, different identity crisis because moving to Italy, at that age, of course I was feeling different. I looked different. In school, I was also bullied for many years. My identity was more, Italian. And when I moved to China when I was 19 to go to uni, it changed me a lot. What is my home? Where do I belong? I didn't, fully belong to China. There were many cultural things that I didn't know because, I didn't grow up here. Or there were things in Europe that I was wonder why, the stereotype or why, things are the way they are. In my early 20s, I went through this, I guess, just rediscovering and re-finding myself. It is, something in between China and Italy. Not just the two countries, it's like also all my travel experiences. Now I've been to over 100 something countries. And so every experience affects you in small ways. So I just feel international. I feel comfortable in my own skin. I can be in Asia, I can be in Europe.
If you like my video, please give me a like. And then you can comment below. Share with your friends.
I grew up in a small town. So in primary school, I only had like 4 classmates. And for high school, I had to go to a city. In a small town, everything was, just very normal. But yeah, I started in middle school and then high school was like the worst because I think apart from, looking different, I was also very good in school there. I was like one of the best students in my school.
Oh, it's very strange because if you were good at everything, you'd be popular at school, I thought.
I think if you belong to the country or culture, then yes. But if they see you as an outsider, then they will pick on you. Like in Italy, to be popular, it wasn't about, your scores or how good you were. It was maybe just, belonging to the middle upper class or being very, good looking.
Do you fight back in any way?
I think for me it was easier to skip school sometimes, avoid certain people, or just not care about it. Because I've always thought that when something happens, if you just react, so for example, let's say someone hits you and you just hit them back, then you're kind of playing their game. If they try to tease you and you are the bigger person and you can ignore them, then I think that's always like a wiser choice because then you're not just reacting to whatever they are throwing at you, but you choose to like respond in a different way, in a way that doesn't create, more pain or more anger.
My friend's experience, he was bullied at school. One day, he threw the guy like really in this way.
Oh wow.
And then since that time, that guy never bothered him.
I think it's also like with boys it's different because boys are much more physical. Girls are, maybe they will spread very bad gossip that's not true, or they will call you strange names, or they will share things about you that maybe are not even, true. I received some anonymous letters that were sent to my father. They would, paint really bad things about me on the walls. I stayed with 2 really cool people in Hawaii. One with a really nice place, very generous. He left me his car, and the other one was a surf instructor. So he actually taught me to surf in Hawaii. Negative experiences. The first person I ever hosted, and he came home later, and he was like throwing up for so long in the bathroom. And then I had 2 guys that I reported. He was in his 40s, so, he was like 20 years older than me and stuff. And I had my bed, and then I had the sofa bed. And instead of, going to his sofa bed, he came into my bed. So I asked him to leave, and he didn't move. Oh, but, we had a nice evening together. But as friends, like this is not, for me, this is not like any flirting or dating situation. After that evening, I just told him to go. And when he arrived, like his behavior was a bit aggressive, like very dominant. He was extremely flirty, even though I was trying to just be nice about rejecting him. No! He got very physical and he tried to rape me.
So actually you had to fight?
Yeah. I had to physically push him many times. I mean, it was quite scary for me because also he was like, quite big and strong. I get to the door and just open the door, screaming, and like my neighbors like open the door and they're like, you're okay. I just threw, his stuff out and I shut the door and that's it. And then I reported him.
Well, those 2 guys, did they have good reference?
Yes.
Like a lot?
The older guy had maybe 20 or 30 and the younger guy, he had many. He had more than 60. Very short references usually are not a great sign. Or if it's just very generic, say, this person was nice and friendly. Sometimes people don't feel okay, like being honest, when they leave a reference. Or like reporting people or like sharing the negative feedback. You want to let other people know.
Today we know Couchsurfing is an app you can not only host people and serve at people's face, you can use it as hangout function. We learn how to offer host fee. We know how to recognize red flags of server, which is people who always serve and never host. We know the red flag of a host Usually, if ever such reference, you need to be aware of.
Is it true in Italy, a lot of men, they stay with their parents until they're very
that's true.
grown up?
Yes, we call them mammoni.
Mother boy.
Yes.
In the very traditional Asian culture, you marry to the whole family.
Yeah.
I didn't
It's the same in Italy. Yes.
But I don't have this problem because I don't speak French, so I cannot communicate with my partner's
Wow,
parents.
very good for you.
Like, comment, share with your friends. Thank you for your sharing.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me,
Jenny. Bye bye.